Welcome. Thank you for being back with us again. A lot of movement in the East. We basically threw Dave on the desk. We're like, okay, and then we're doing this, and then we're doing this, and then we're doing this. Because beyond KD and Kyrie, we had the Sixers adding perennial All-Star Al Horford, in addition to bringing back Tobias Harris. The Celtics replacing Kyrie with, I don't know, let's just get another one All-NBA guard, Kemba Walker. And the Pacers added Malcolm Brogdon to pair with star Victor Oladipo, which was kind of sneaky. We also, of course, have the Bucks re-signing a bunch of guys, although they did let Brogdon go. We can see how these moves affect projected East favorites to win the conference. Now, these are hypothetical odds by Caesars. Dave, I had to ask producer Danny what hypothetical odds were. Hypothetical odds, it has been explained to me, is the odds that Caesars would put out if they were putting odds on this right now, but are not, because for betting purposes, the money is too loose. They could lose too much money if they did this right now. Sometimes it's because like a player could influence it in a way. Sometimes it's because there's too much where they don't know yet. Like these teams aren't set yet. So
you're saying that hypothetical odds are odds that are hypothetical.
Boom.
Thank you.
Hypothetically, if as things stand today, who would you say, Dave, is the best team in the East? Hypothetically.
It's two teams, Philly and Milwaukee. There's no doubt to me. You know, we don't know, obviously, with Kawhi not at Toronto, but I think the team that's getting lost here is Boston. I mean, they still have three wings that everybody else in the league covets. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Gordon Hayward's going to be better, I think, 2 years removed from his injury. You don't want to be in a tight game against Kemba Walker. He will get you at the end. He makes big shots, makes big plays. And let's not forget Isaiah Thomas, best 2 years. We're at Brad Stevens, running it, has the ball all the time, making all the plays. This is a young team, though, that needs to get over holding the basketball. It's not my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. It puts a lot of pressure on the coach. Let's play. Here's our pecking order. This guy sets the table. Everybody else play off him. And I think if they do that, they can be successful.
Well, I think Milwaukee did a great job yesterday. And I think one thing I want to point out is that they are not done. They may be done with free agency, but by doing that sign and trade with Brogdon, they picked up 3 draft picks, plus I believe it's a $13 million trade exception that they can use to add to this team through the season. So I mean, we're talking about a team that won 60 games last year anyway, has the MVP. I think they're going to be in great position. They're going to have great continuity. If Kawhi resigns with Toronto, you're taking your hat off to the champs and saying you are the favorites. But if that doesn't happen, Milwaukee is going to be in great position.
Yeah, I like Milwaukee. I like Philly. I like Indiana. I really think what they did was not as splashy as some of the other moves, but I think they've moved themselves up tremendously. First of all, you talk about Brogdon, him and Oladipo. That might be the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. When you talk about two guys who can guard either position, switch everything, and then play either on or off ball offensively. And then it didn't really jump out right now, but people are going to see that T.J. Warren was an excellent pickup for them that cost them basically just $2 million in cash. Being able to add a guy like that, a scorer like that, is really going to help them. Because Indiana, you saw it, especially when Oladipo went down. Offense was hard to come by for them. They're a good defensive team. Now they added another scorer to the mix. I really like what the Pacers are doing, but yeah, I would say if we're going pecking order, it's Milwaukee and Philadelphia.
Last year, I thought Philadelphia had the best team to match up with Giannis because Tobias, Simmons, they all have the size, right? And Butler, and so they lose Butler and they add a big. That's interesting to me because when you watch the playoffs, it sizes down. It's small, small, small. It's be very interesting to see how the playoffs match up in the East.
What they can force. I do like your point though about Kemba because, as you say with IT, here's a guy who was considered a defensive liability and his height, and these are things we hear about Kemba, but who got maximized by Brad Stevens.
Can Brad Stevens fix Enes Kanter defensively? If he does that, then I will kneel. I will bend the knee.
Enes Kanter had some stronger defensive moments than we expected in Portland. How about that? That was a nice way to say that.
The nice show.
We're not the nice show. Let's get to the last of the big names on the board. For DeMarcus Cousins, who is currently an unrestricted free agent, getting paid this summer will likely mean having to leave Golden State. The best the Warriors could offer Cousins is a deal starting at $6.4 million, and even that could end up being too much for hard-capped Golden State. So look, as we look at the current free agent landscape, I want to talk about where the best fit for him is. And Dave, also, you coached him. And when you were coaching him, he expected that big max money, right? That Supermax was on the table with you guys. And to see sort of how this has fallen for him because of the injuries, it's such an unusual ride we didn't expect.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for him, yeah, with the injuries and stuff. But, you know, he's got to find a place that he's comfortable. He's grown a lot. He's matured a lot. I think he should go right back to Sacramento. Bring it back together. He's growing. They've got a young team, but obviously the numbers got to work on a lot of these things and what fits and as far as the team goes. And we know that as we just said, teams are sizing down, playing smaller and smaller. But he has a skill set that he can step out and play on the perimeter offensively and keep your offense open.
He's waiting for Kawhi. If Kawhi goes somewhere besides the Lakers, I think the Lakers are an option for him. Other than that, he may have to sacrifice money to make a better fit for free agency next year. It's not a deep free agent class next year. If he has a good year, he could be important in that class. But it's unfortunate this is a second straight year where he may have to do that.
Is that something that for a player, it's just you got to wait again?
I mean, it stinks, but this is where the people around him really come in handy, right? If he has a good group around him, they'll tell him, look, we might not make as much as we thought, but this is a situation where you're going to play. That's the most important thing now. Assuming that he's ready to go by training camp, he's got to show the world the injuries are done. I'm still an impact player in this league. You take a haircut on the salary maybe to play a year somewhere where you can show that consistently, and then next year, like Brian said, in a shallow market, he gets to command a lot more money.
Clippers, Lakers seem like a good fit for him. Either place, I think would be good for him.
Yeah. Be back here in LA. All right, we're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, the big names are almost all gone. There is still plenty of quality role players available. I don't know, did we write that sentence before?